Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is BDF44, as I'm sure those of you who've watched some of my videos already know. And I come to you today because I heard a rumor that really perked my attention or sparked my attention. So Jrue Holiday appears to be on the trading block. I believe that it was today, November 4th, November 4th, when the Pelicans announced that they would be opening up the lines for him and seeing what they can get for him. And I just think suddenly, out of the clear blue sky, the Lakers' third option just showed up. Now I know we're gonna have to compete with some other teams who may have better packaging, but Jrue Holiday's from LA, and Jrue Holiday played his entire career, with the exception of maybe 1.5 years with the Philadelphia 76ers, with the Pelicans, as AD's second or third option, depending on what year you're talking about with Boogie. He knows AD as well as any human being can know him on the basketball floor. He was his point guard. Jrue Holiday is arguably the best defensive point guard in all of basketball. Jrue Holiday is also one of the better offensive passers, offensive shooters, offensive drivers. He can do everything on the court. He doesn't have too many weaknesses really at all. Character, we know what type of character this man has. It's been displayed. He comes from a good family. He has two brothers in the league. Both of them are doing very well as role players, ascending players. His wife, she was diagnosed with some type of brain tumor, I believe it was. He took some time off in the beginning of his prime, in a year when he was fully healthy and the team was pretty good, to take care of her and nurse her back to health and see her through a pregnancy at the same time. So we know what type of strength he has in his household. We know what type of foundational person that we're bringing in. And he's also from LA. Played for UCLA, one of the star point guards of UCLA. He doesn't have a big name as it pertains to being a superstar. Even though many would argue he's better than some of those bigger names, including myself. I can think of like 3 or 4 guys who have bigger names than him that are not better than him at all, who can't see him at all. And he's okay with that. He's not one of those guys who needs to be catered to be made happy, to be made whole. He's been in unhappy situations more or less in New Orleans. He's been striving and thriving under those circumstances and continuing to be a very productive two-way star the whole time. Fairly durable, had some injury issues early on, but he's been fairly durable lately and has good habits in terms of taking care of his body. His contract has been nuts. That's why he's been untouchable. But guess what? His contract is now healthy. I think he only has about 2 years left on it. And he's worth the price. He's outplayed it, believe it or not. So, all things considered, we're talking about getting another point guard if Rondo does go. Even if he doesn't, Jrue Holiday is the perfect player to bring to the Lakers. What will he cost us? Probably Kuzma. We should have sent Kuzma ass to New Orleans anyway. He should have been in New Orleans anyway. I hate to say that because I'm a Kuzma guy. But he ain't best for the role that he's in. He did not play well under that role, and we know what he looks like when he's at his best. He needs a point guard to set him up. He needs Lonzo Ball. Send him to New Orleans like he should have been in the first place. He should have been with those guys the whole time. He played better with the kids than he played with LeBron. Period. He should be in New Orleans. And I think New Orleans has a chance, a situation on their hands where they're probably going to lose Brandon Ingram, because if I'm Brandon Ingram, I'm going after the bag. Maybe I go home, try to see if I can get back to North Carolina, play for Michael Jordan. That'll be his team. They got the 3rd, 4th pick in the draft. Maybe they get Ball. They already got some guys down there in Charlotte. I like that place for Brandon Ingram. He has better suitors as well. He can go to Miami. He can go to, I think Toronto's probably looking for a 3. That would be a nice place for Brandon Ingram. So if they lose Brandon Ingram, they're going to need a 3. Kyle Kuzma comes in, plays the 3 for them. They got Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Kyle Kuzma, Zion, etc. And they have the core that they should have had in the first place. Kuzma should have been a part of that trade. I know that I didn't want to give up Kuzma, but for him, for the betterment of his game, And don't get it twisted. Getting a championship is the best thing for him, obviously. But, I mean, he didn't play well. His stock is down, super down. So if he and a couple other pieces are going to be required, of course, it's not going to be enough to get Jrue Holiday, just Kuzma. But we will throw in some pieces, maybe get a third team involved, try to figure something out if we have to. But the point is, I think that the trade will be centered around Kyle, and we will have to be creative in order to make that happen, in order to compete with other packages. But if Jrue decides, hey, I want to go home and play with my guy AD, then that could really help us. So hopefully he does that. Hopefully the guys call him and just let him know that we want him to be a part of this thing. Because I ultimately think, we talk about Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose has had some fantastic years over the last several years after coming back from injury. But I just don't like him to be my starting point guard. We can have him on the team, and I'm sure he can rotate between the 1 guard and the 2 guard spot. So I know we'd find minutes for him and a role for him, but I don't want him being my starting point guard, especially defensively. That's too much to ask. Rondo, same thing. I love Rondo, and I saw what he just did, but I know how it goes. He's going to have issues throughout a long season. You just know he's going to be there when the playoffs start. But you don't want him to be your starting point guard next season. You don't. You don't want that. I'm just being all the way real. I love Rondo, and like I said, I just saw what he just did. But I don't want him to have to chase kids around next year. I don't want him to have to take on the best point guard defensive assignments. I don't want him to be tasked with the same role this year, a year older, that he was last year. I just think that he needs to be gradually pulled back into a space that fits what he's going to be able to give you going forward. And I want somebody younger in that space. I want somebody who can keep up with the point guards of this league, and I don't think there's too many better than Jrue Holiday. We're going to still have to find ways of guarding the Jamal Murrays and Dame Lillards and et cetera, et cetera. Steph Curry's now back. We're going to have to guard these guys. Jrue Holiday is somebody I want to throw at him. When I start thinking about who I want to throw at these people, Jrue Holiday is the guy that comes to mind, probably first in the league, to be honest with you. He's probably first in the league. If Patrick Beverley was as gifted offensively as he would be defensively, he'd be Jrue Holiday. If Patrick Beverley had some offensive game, he'd be Jrue Holiday. Jrue Holiday is that serious on the defensive end. So, and he's bigger. So, for me, it's like, that's the guy. That's the guy. A lot of people like Bradley Beal, but Bradley Beal ain't setting nobody up. And Bradley Beal's never been accused of being a defensive dynamo. Never in his life. If it comes down to them 2 players, I'm definitely taking Jrue Holiday. Because Jrue Holiday can give me the points that Bradley's giving me, but he's also going to take the ball and disrupt the defensive end. Bradley's not going to be doing that. In fact, Bradley's one of the worst defensive players in the league. So, the best option that I've seen thus far, reasonable option within reason, is Jrue Holiday. Anything else may be outside of reason. I've heard people talk about James Harden. I don't think we can put together a package to get no James Harden. I think Houston would be absolutely and utterly stupid to take anything we have, not name Anthony Davis or LeBron James, for James Harden. So even though that's a nice little cute thing to say, there's no way in hell the Lakers are getting James Harden unless he demands a trade to the Lakers and the Rockets accept a heist for him, which I just don't think benefits them in any way, shape, or form. James Harden will not be a Laker next season. I've heard certain names, other people like Devin Booker. I think the same thing. I think the package is just too much. They can get more for him from somewhere else. And you got to understand, whatever the Lakers are going to go after, you can best believe the Clippers are going to do the same thing just to be spiteful and evil. They've already shown a propensity to be this way. There's no reason for us to believe that they're any less bitter than they've been before. They're going to try to undermine us on anything we do going forward. Expect them to try to take not only Dwight Howard and Rondo, but probably whatever it is we're trying to get going forward. They're going to try to do all of it. Don't be surprised. They're just spiteful like that. And they ain't learned their lesson, obviously. We know they haven't. But anyway, so that's what I got to say. Jrue Holiday to LA. I want to see him here. I think purple and gold is where he needs to be going forward. I think he played this long with Anthony Davis and didn't win nothing. He deserves to win with Anthony Davis. If somebody deserves a win, it's definitely him too. For that situation that I've already described in this video, I'd like to see him get a championship. And I'd like to see him get a championship for his hometown team. So that's also an aspect of this situation. Anyway, my name is BDF44. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm out. Go Lakers.